Hello, adventurers! My name is Chance, and welcome to a channel update. It's been a long time since I've had to do one of these, to be fair, but since we finished up the background series, I thought now might be a good time to address it, and my voice is all rested up and ready to go here. So let's kind of just talk about the channel as a whole. As I mentioned earlier, we did just finish up all of the backgrounds, which is a huge accomplishment. So now let's get to what remains. First and foremost is the feats. These are the ones that were added into Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. We've done a couple of them already, but there's about 17 new feats in total. And going over them, it might be a little bit more of an undertaking than I first thought. Well, maybe not. It's about the same in all fairness. So, for example, because of the way this channel's set up, it's really difficult for me to do the feats justice without attaching multiple other videos to them. So, for example, Eldritch Adept rather, is the next one, and it deals with Eldritch Invocations, which isn't a huge problem because we've already done videos on all of the Eldritch Invocations. I'm not super happy with the quality of the videos, but they do exist, and if you like go on YouTube and search up Eldritch Invocation, it's like or Eldritch Invocations 5e rather. It's pretty disgusting how many of my videos come up. In any case, Tasha. The point is that Tasha's Cauldron of Everything did add in about half a dozen new Eldritch Invocations. So I'll have to go and do those right after I do the feat video, and a lot of these feat videos are going to be really short. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, these feats, are designed to give players access to other classes, in a manner of speaking. Very similar to what Maneuverable and Magic Initiate did during the original feats, right? Like, it's kind of meant to give you access to either spellcasting or to the superiority die and the maneuvers from the battle master. So yeah, I'm sorry if my thoughts are a little bit disjointed here. By the way, I kind of woke up fairly recently, and I'm recording this while my brain's still a little bit sluggish. But I did get all of this animated the night before, so I'm just following my own template. So 17 feats, which isn't a huge undertaking for me. I should be able to get them done. I can get the feat, if I just focused on the feat videos, I could probably get them done by the end of today, in all fairness. However, because there's so much attached to them, like Fey Touch is relatively easy for me to do, it's already animated, but Fighting Initiate is a little bit harder because it gives you access to a fighting style, and in order for this channel to function properly, I need to do all the fighting styles in separate videos. So the feat video will literally just be me saying, yeah, you get a fighting style, check out these videos so you can pick which one you want, which I'm not ordinarily a huge fan of doing. I feel like you should be able to address it all within the video. However, there are some concepts that are either too complicated or too varied to do in one video. Although I suppose if I spent enough time on it, I could do it, and then have the fighting styles in separate videos as well. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down beneath. And then Gunner is another one that I'm kind of at a loss on how to do, just because it's one thing to be able to say, yeah, you get proficiency in firearms, you ignore the loading property, being within 5 feet doesn't impose disadvantage, but it doesn't really explain what firearms are, what their unique properties are, or what examples exist in the DMG. I'm a little bit hesitant to go into what examples exist in the DMG because I feel like most DMs are going to make up their own. It's very rare I see a DM flipping through the DMG, for the record, which is interesting because it was my Bible for the longest time, but most DMs kind of wing it, and to be fair, that's fine if that's your DM style. But for the most part, a lot of these feats do require me to go into several other concepts of videos, which is fine because I'd have to do them all anyways for doing the classes and subclasses, but it is a little bit more than I thought it would be at a glance. So taking a look at it, I'll have to do about half a dozen extra for the Eldritch Adept rather, geez. And then I think since Tasha's added in a bunch of new fighting styles, I think it's close to a dozen, maybe a little bit more fighting styles now. So add another dozen onto that, so we're at 18 already. Meta Magic Adept is fairly similar, so add another, I think it's only 6 or 7 now? I forget. But let's just say 6, let's lowball it. So that's 24. Piercer is really easy because it follows the same template as Crusher. Poisons should be easy enough. Shadow Touch should be easy enough as well. Skill Expert should be okay. I might have to do videos on independent skills at some point or another, but there's not really a need for that yet, and there are a lot of other channels that do it, so I might not need to. Slasher follows the same as Crusher and Piercer, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Telekinetic shouldn't be a big deal either. Same with Telepathic. Okay, so that's not too bad. So I have to do about 24 extra in addition to the 17. And I've already done a handful of those 17. So it should be pretty doable, like 40 odd-ish videos. Which should be doable pretty quick here, especially if they're all simple. Taking a look at a couple of the new electrifications, though, they are a little bit more complicated, but they should still be doable. So after we're done with the feats, which I'll try and get done between today and tomorrow, same with like all the extensions, so I'm going to be doing the Eldritch Adept coming out right away here, followed up by the newest talisman kind of invocation, and then I'll run through all the new invocations really quick, add them to the playlists, and then move on from there to the Fey Touched, which I've already gotten done for the most part, so it should be pretty quick. Gunner, I'm kind of on a loss on what to do, but I'll deal with it as it comes up. I got a little bit of time while the other videos are rendering to finish it, so yeah, I'm not super worried about it. Fighting Initiate, I have it mostly done, but I haven't gotten done any of the fighting style videos, so I'll have to do that today as well. So just expect a ton of videos to come out. And then looking at the race and sub races, last time I counted them all, there's about 122 different videos I have to do, and that will cover all of them for the most part. I feel like I might have missed a couple of them. Like, I don't remember if I got the Luxodon in there or any of the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount races or sub-races. But regardless, it shouldn't increase that number by too much. Maybe as high as 140. But 122 sounds right in my head. And then moving on to the classes and subclasses, there's 157 videos I have to do on them, and that will cover basically everything. That number will be reduced by the videos I have to do in the feats, at least in part, at least as it relates to the fighting styles and the meta magics. So that'll be nice, and then we have 322 spells. It is a little bit more than that now, however, because of Tasha's changing everything, but it's not a huge deal for me because I was going to redo a lot of my older videos anyways, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but I'm going to focus on what we don't have done and then probably loop around afterwards to the older videos and then replace them as I go along. I think that'd probably be the best way to do it. And then after all that, we have closer to 1,900 monsters. And that number is only likely to increase. That being said, though, it is quite the project, and that'll lead to channel completion. So if you're not super familiar with what channel completion is, in my eyes, I've made several posts about it, and I've talked about it during live streams, and even the channel welcome video really explains it, which I do have to redo. That hyped up intro For whatever reason, on my old laptop, it sounded fine, but now that I've gotten like better computers and stuff, the audio quality hurts me, so I'm gonna be redoing a lot of that stuff, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But if you're not familiar with what the channel completion is, it's just to have everything from every book that Wizards has produced on this channel, and even a lot of homebrew content as well, which I will be getting to. But it's meant to be more of a resource than an entertainment channel, and I think that's probably what this space needs more than anything else. Because there are a lot of D&D channels. Don't get me wrong, and there's a lot of them that'll never be better than, and I'm totally aware of that, and I'm totally fine with that. But I find a lot of them do, I guess, like what I would consider to be pseudo informational videos. Like they'll do like builds, or they'll do top 10 lists, or they'll give their 2 cents on stuff. And to be fair, I do very similar things. I try and avoid top 10s, and I try and avoid ranking any particular options over others. Although sometimes it's almost impossible not to. So, but I do my best not to like make lists and give them all a grading and stuff like that, because all of them are good under their own specific circumstances, and whether or not your dungeon master allows certain things has a huge bearing on what is listed where, and party composition factors in as well. So, long story short is I just want to provide relatively unbiased information so that anyone who's new to the game, who doesn't really like reading, or who has questions, or who has any ideas that they'd like to share with the community, I want to provide a place for them to go. Naturally, I expect a lot of older players to give their 2 cents and help kind of guide the newer 5e players. And I understand the game's been out for quite some time, but I find its popularity is ever increasing, So I don't know, that's kind of my goal, and I think I've done a pretty good job of facilitating that transition, at least thus far. It's about to get ramped up to 11, though. That being said, I always get asked, especially when I produce a lot of videos back to back, kind of what the next steps are, or what's going to happen if the channel is if I run out of content. Well, let's talk about that. This will be after completion. So I have to redo my older videos. There's about 400 of them that I'm not super satisfied with. And I know that sounds like a huge undertaking, but it won't happen all at once. Like, it won't be like one day you'll wake up and like half of my content's gone, and then they'll slowly come back. No, the older videos will just be replaced as I complete the newer ones. So it should be a pretty seamless transition. I will keep all of my older videos just as unlisted, and I'll put the links in their updated version. So if you want to see why I replaced it, or look at the older comments, you're more than welcome to. However, in the newer videos, seeing as how they've been out, or seeing as how the older versions have been out for about a year, all of them have collected an insane amount of valuable comments. So I'm going to be kind of finding the best ones, or the most applicable ones, and featuring them in the updated version of the videos. I think that'll be a good way to carry over a lot of that value without requiring them to do any effort and re-comment. I think that'd be the best way to do it. So for sure, I want to redo a large bulk of the feats, a large bulk of the invocations, a large bulk of the cantrips for sure, a decent chunk of the first and second level spells, and yeah, there's about 400 of them, which is the majority of the channel currently. But assuming I can keep my pace going, that percentage will be reduced quite greatly. And I won't be changing a lot in regards to the animation. I'll just be adding in a couple sections, making a couple tweaks to make it flow better, and just redoing the voice and audio primarily. However, I don't know, the animation will be better just through virtue of me kind of knowing what I'm doing a little bit better. So there will be that too, but seeing as how I have a direct template to work off of, it should be relatively easy for me to make those videos. It'll be taxing and time consuming, but it won't be very difficult. And then after I'm done all of that, while I'm doing that, I don't know, I haven't decided yet, I'd like to get into homebrew content as well. A long, long, long time ago, I made a post relating to everyone submitting their homebrew spell ideas, and I'll get to them when I have the time. I've been really, really busy as of late, but I do have all of those ideas still. And assuming I'm able to fly through these, I'll get to those right away here. If you'd like to expedite that process and see your spell video shown in the immediate future, over at the Guild Hall, I do have a way you can kind of do that, so check that out if you like. But for the most part, I'd just like to do it for fun. I was going through them the other day and kind of organizing them and completing them a little bit, just adding schools of spells and all that good stuff. But a lot of them are really well done, like really, really well done. Some of them are a little bit rough around the edges and are a little bit wordier, so I might have to kind of do some editing on my part to make it as streamlined as possible. But for the most part, they're really nice, so it is interesting. And then from there, just keep the channel current. So there's potentially infinite amount of homebrew ideas I can do, and Wizards of the Coast, although there's some speculation amongst creators, but Wizards of the Coast seems to be sticking with 5e for the long term, and it's likely the 6th edition expansion is going to just build off of 5e. I think that's what they were trying to experiment with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. At least that's the impression I got. I don't know, I've been asked a couple times what my thoughts are on Tasha's. It's okay. I would have liked more. It was just, I found that the amount it was hyped up to the amount I actually got out of it was kind of meh. It also changed a little bit of the spells, which stressed me out a little bit, but after I realized that a lot of the spells I had to redo anyways, I was just kind of meh about it. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of people in my circle have been criticizing it because of the amount of Unearthed Arcana stuff in there, and you know what, fair enough. It's probably one of Wizards of the Coast's less inspired books, I want to say. Maybe even their most uninspired, at least in recent memory. But, you know, there's only one way for Unearthed Arcana to become canon, and that's to produce something like this. So, I don't know, I'm kind of fine with it. I understand a lot of DMs are worried about min-maxers abusing the race builder kind of optional stuff, but I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent about it. I've done enough Adventures League to know how to deal with min-maxers, and my toolbox is expansive enough to handle them, and to be honest, in most of my games, min-maxers aren't at any more of an advantage than just standard players, and when they are, it's usually just during combat, so it is whatever. Now let's get to my personal thoughts. Overall, I'm super happy with the channel. I think it's amazing how much it's grown in how short of a span of time. Like, the thing's only barely a year old, right? So for it to essentially get up to 10,000 subscribers within a year is really impressive within the YouTube community. And of course, everyone listening and even the people who aren't are the ones who made this all possible. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. I've been really itching to produce more content. Like, I want to, like, break a record, at least in some sense. Like, I think I've broken a record within the D&D community in terms of, like, most uploads in a day. If you're curious, the most uploads I think I've ever done in a day is 18 or 19. And that was when I was doing the Beasts videos. But recently I've been able to consistently hit like 12, 13, 14. So, and that's with more complicated videos. So I'm hoping to maintain that going. In terms of kind of like a timeline, I should be able to get most of the videos done within the span of a month. I'm planning on taking weekends off just to rest my voice, but even with that, a month sounds about right if I can do at least 10 videos a day. I can get through these in massive chunks. If you don't know, YouTube really doesn't like it when you do that. It rubs them the wrong way. However, despite the metrics dip while I'm publishing videos, I don't so much care. And what I mean by that is, relative to a lot of other channels, my channel is a baby. Like, it has it's close to 10,000 subscribers, but it's still less than 10,000 subscribers. And because of that, the boost I get from ad revenue in the beginning, although it is quite substantial, it's not really worth holding back content over. And my biggest pet peeve is YouTube creators not releasing enough content. So I would rather be the opposite of that. You know, whether or not you guys like it, I'll listen to what you have to say, but for the most part, I don't so much care because this is something that I'm really passionate about, right? And at the end of the day, I'm the one doing the recordings. At the end of the day, I'm the one animating them, and I'm doing the work, right? And I understand I'm nothing without viewers, and I totally get that. And if you want to unsubscribe because it's too much, I 100% understand. But from my perspective, I would much rather produce too much and have 1,000 people get mad at me for that than not produce enough and have one person with a question not get it answered. You know, at least that's my perspective on it. In addition to that, the channel just hit 700 total videos, which is absolutely ludicrous for about a year, right? That's like 2 videos a day-ish for about a year. And I'm really expecting to ramp that up to 11 really soon here. I already kind of have, but I'm just going to go nuts with it. Might as well, right? So yeah, if there's anything you'd like to see me go over on the channel, I will likely at one point or another go over Dungeons and Dragons rules at some point. I do have a couple videos already relating to it. However, it's one of those concepts, or one of those subjects rather, where there are literally dozens of channels who have already done it in a way where I was able to learn the game. And I don't think they've missed anything when you look at their cumulative knowledge. So if I do something like that, it will strictly be because I feel as though I can organize the knowledge in one place, in one playlist better than they could have. So, yeah, that's the only reason I'd do it, and so far I do not have that impression. Before I let you guys go, I would like, after I'm done, with at least the spells. So if I can complete the spells, races, classes, and yeah, then I'd like to just take a couple days and just get through all of the comments. I've kind of been trying to chip away at them. However, since my hiatus, there's just so many. Like, it really is an immeasurable amount of comments. Like, I think I literally have thousands of comments I have to respond to. Which is not a bad thing, and I'll definitely get to them eventually, but it's not something I can just kind of chip away at, because I like feeling like there's some sense of progress, you know, and I legitimately feel like it's like a drop in the ocean, right? So I think the only way to really do that is when I'm done all the videos, just sit down for like a couple weeks and just respond to comments every day, all day. Just type. And that'll be where the channel's large enough to kind of maintain itself, I think. Like, I think as soon as it hits, like, the 1,000 video mark, that'll be the point where I'll be almost undetestable in the D&D space, you know? Because all my content's evergreen. Like, my top viewed videos are still some of my older videos, which is kind of shameful because I'm not really happy with the quality of them, but they are still the most viewed. So like Prestidigitation, Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, those are all some, even like Find Familiar, like I'm looking at them right now, they are all my older videos, and my newer ones do great as well, but the channel has produced almost exclusively evergreen content. I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. So yeah, that's really all I have to go over in terms of this channel update. Hopefully it'll provide you guys an insight as to what my thinking is and kind of why it is that way. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns, just put them down beneath in the comment section. And yeah, I will see you guys in a moment here with some new feat and invocation videos. And yeah, if you'd like a free one-shot, please do check out the guild hall and use code WELCOME to get yours. And just get prepared for a crazy amount of content being dumped on you for this upcoming month here. That being said, I hope you have a great day, and as always, happy adventuring.